In this video, we're going to show you how your aquascape can go from looking like this to looking like this.
I think I need a bigger piece of wood.
Well, this is a very new plant from Tropica.
There's a kind of natural gap here where we could insert that.
And in just 5 easy steps, we will give you the tools so you can elevate your aquascaping skills.
So we'll take you through those now. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Let's go. Tip number 1 is to swap out some plants. In our case, we're going to remove some plants, in this case the Hatonia palustris, and we're going to add some new plants, which we'll talk about later. So the reason I'm going to remove the Hatonia is it's a beautiful stem plant, but it's not quite growing as I'd like it to. I'd much prefer a stem plant with a more definite vertical structure. So what we are going to use is Pagostemon deccanensis, formerly known as Pagostemon erectus. So we simply remove all of the stem plants from the back and replace them.
So simply grab your stem plants and just gently pull. Now you will likely disturb the soil, and it will be essential to do a large water change once you've finished any disturbance of the substrate, because that can lead to algae issues.
It's also really important to discard of any excess cuttings or plants you don't want to use anymore. Never let them into natural waterways, as they can become invasive. You can also choose to give your spare cuttings away to a friend or newcomer to the hobby. It's a great way to help the community. You might even have luck selling your cuttings. There are lots of plant swap groups online.
So here we have our Pagostemon deccanensis. To prepare the pot, very simple. Remove the label, remove the plant from the plastic pot there, peel apart the rock wool. Normally it comes in 2 halves. What you can do, top tip, depending on how the root structure is in the rock wool, you can directly remove the stems, like so. And then we can split the plant into several portions. The more portions you separate, the more economical coverage you get. And then we'll repeat that for the other pots. We're using 4 pots in total, and then simply plant into the empty area where the Hatonia palustris used to be. So simply grab your plants. You can probably do 2 or 3 stems in one go with your tweezers. Gently position and then pop it into your desired area. So we're going to be quite kind of uniform along the back there. I do like the idea of a nice backdrop of this beautiful stem plant, very vertical in its growth nature, a very nice bright green colour. It's going to contrast really well with those darker greens in the front there. Okay, time for tip number 2, and that is to add more hardscape to your aquascape. So hardscape is the name for aquarium decoration. We're already using the Tropica aqua decor here. That is small pieces of driftwood with Christmas moss and the Hygrophila pinnatifida attached there. As you can see, it's completely covered now. We can't see any visible wood, although it does look beautiful with the moss, the mature moss, etc. But I think it would look much more attractive, much more high impact if we had a lot more height to the aquascape. So I've got this beautiful piece of driftwood here, and now I'm going to position that appropriately. We're probably going to have to kind of move around the aqua decor here to give it some room. So I'll have a little play around with that now, and hopefully you can see a big transformation already after that. Okay, slight change of plan. We've taken out that small piece. I've got 2 bigger pieces here. I'm really keen to create a high impact with this hardscape. So what I'm actually going to do is remove the aqua decor here. Of course, lots of detritus, etc. Spare moss, so much moss growth on here. And it probably will remove some of the other stem plants, but we can always replant those later, that's no problem. As you can see, we're creating a really big mess here, but the final result will be worth it, I'm sure. Okay, time to fit our other hardscape, but before we do that, we probably need some rocks to weigh down because this will want to float. So I'll go and grab some rocks now. Okay, we've got our stones. Now it's time to put our wood in position and then hopefully be able to position the stones on top of the wood to prevent it from floating. So now we're on to tip number 3, adding plants to your hardscape. Now we're recycling, of course, the Christmas moss and the Hygrophila pinnata here, and I think it looks great, even though it does look a bit cloudy, of course, at the moment. Okay, we have this left over. This is, of course, far too big now to put in there. However, we could give that away to a friend, or we could create another aquascape in another small aquarium somewhere. That's an instant focal point and a really good example of how the aqua decor can provide a great high impact instant start to a brand new aquascape. So we'll keep that to one side for sure, and we'll just tidy this lot up and then we'll go on to our next tip. Now I've just got another stone here because I think that would look beautiful just kind of underneath that other stone there to act as like a lead-in line. So we can kind of position it, I think, like this, and I think it would look really natural. I think that's improved the overall appearance there. Looks more balanced. And maybe another smaller stone coming in this way, just to kind of make it even more aesthetically balanced. So I'll do that next. Okay, tip number 4, adding more colour to your aquascape. There is a little bit of colour in here already with the Hygrophila pinnata, but I think I'd love to see a little bit more colour. Nothing too high impact, but something quite subtle. So we've got the Hygrophila lancea araguaia and also the Rotala indica bonsai. They both will change different colours depending on the lighting conditions and the nutrient conditions. But in general terms, the more light you have, the more intense the colour will be. So it will be interesting to see how it goes. Now, because we're dealing with colour, we don't want to use it slap bang in the centre of the scape. We like to keep it aesthetically balanced. So with that in mind, I think the Rotala would go really nicely in front of this stone here, and then the Hygrophila lancea kind of around here, roughly in accordance with the rule of thirds. Okay, let's prepare our pots simultaneously. Let's start off with the Rotala indica bonsai. Peel off the lid. Remove all the plant in one go from the pot. It's a liquid growth media, so very easy to prepare. Pop that into your receptacle of clean water to wash off the growth media. And now simply repeat that process with a Hygrophila. And now we simply split that into individual portions and plant as appropriate. Top tip, it is very important to keep the plants wet if they're outside of the aquarium. We don't want them to dry out. This will cause the plant tissue to damage and will result in poor growth, if not death, once they're in the aquarium. So keep them wet, and now we're ready to plant in those positions that we talked about. It's amazing how many individual plants you can get out of one pot or the ones you grow. They really do represent great value for money. Guaranteed to be free from algae, pest snails, disease, pesticides, and you do get so many individual plants for your money. There's well over 100 stems in this one pot.
Okay, I've actually added another piece of wood here, as you can see. Previously, the one kind of piece with a vertical element slap bang in the middle, central, didn't look very natural. So I've added another piece and it's really added some complexity and added texture. And that is actually the final tip, adding more complexity and texture to your aquascapes. We can do that with plants, we can do that with hardscape as I've just done here, and we do have some more plants to add. We have the Eleocharis pusilla, used to be called Eleocharis acicularis mini, and the Schismatoglottis praetoi. Now this is a very new plant from Tropica, the Schismatoglottis. It can be used as an epiphyte, but does prefer to be planted in the soil so it can get its nutrients through its roots. And the idea behind the Eleocharis pusilla is to add some more texture amongst that Marsilea carpet there. At the moment it's quite monotone, so I think it would add some beautiful detail if we put a little bit of hair grass in there, just to complement a very kind of thin vertical texture versus the flat round texture, and those two together work really well. Okay, final job, arguably the most important job if you want to ensure you don't get so much algae after doing a significant evolution of your aquascape. We've obviously moved the soil a lot, we've removed loads of plants. All that means there's loads of organic waste now in that water column, and we need to get rid of that with a big water change. So I'll unplug the filter now, and then I will siphon out as much water as possible without damaging any plants or anything, hopefully. Let's do that now. Okay, there we have our nano tank improved, I would say. It's a significant growth, of course, to do on these new plants, but hopefully you can see a significant difference that has occurred with relative ease. You know, we've added 2 pieces of wood, 3 pieces of wood, 3 stones, a few species of plants, but the overall kind of biomass is the same. You know, we didn't remove too much moss or hygrophila. The extensive use of the pagostemon in the background as well, that's going to help any issues that may occur with that relatively fast growth. The substrate's mature, the filter's mature, so hopefully there won't be too many issues that can occur after such a large kind of rescape and improvement. The issue is when you do these kind of things, you can disrupt that kind of whole biological balance. So just keep an eye in the next coming weeks, do big water changes. Consider adding maybe an algae crew, some cherry shrimp, snails, maybe some amano shrimp, and you should be fine. So we hope you've enjoyed that top 5 video on how you can improve your aquascape. please do follow us on our other social media channels, Facebook and Instagram, and you can use the hashtag #MadeWithTropica in order to have your content potentially featured on our channels. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and bell, and finally consider downloading our app, which is available on most smartphones now. Great resource for all planted aquarium enthusiasts and hobbyists. So take care, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video. Bye bye.